All right, welcome back to Planeswalking Through Time. This is Levi Wilson with
your boy Fresh.
Your boy, Mr. Fresh. No, we're on nickname, right? It's Fresh. It's just Fresh now, right? All right, so this is State of the Union 7. I think it's. We'll see. Just State of the Union. That's what we're calling it.
Yeah.
But we do have our notes, and we know what sets that are leaving. And we're going to discuss basically what cards were influential during that time, things that were sad to see. Talk a little bit about the mechanics. Kind of like some mechanics were new to you.
Yep.
Some mechanics are like, oh, I kind of remember that.
Right.
Right. And like themes in the sets.
Yeah.
And then I think that'll be good on reviewing what we did. So.
Okay.
What I have on top of my list, which I think was chronological order, reverse order.
You might have done it.
There was a saga.
Okay. That's fine. We can start there.
All right.
So obviously the two biggest mechanics that I noticed was Cycle and Echo.
Cycle and Echo were like, technically... Oh, yeah. So those are the main mechanics.
Yeah.
I was reading it. Like, they didn't have any like big themes of like the modern day sets have.
Right, yeah. Yeah, nothing too crazy. I don't think I ever did either Cycle or Echo correctly.
I think you cycled fine, right?
Well, so like...
Yeah. It's just cycling.
Naturally, as a constructed player, if you have a tapped land and no 1-drop, you just play that.
Okay, yeah.
And then this, it's almost like better... Well, maybe you sandbag that Cycle land in case by the time you hit... your 3/4 drop, you have enough lands where you just cycle it away. So
it's nuanced, which makes it fun. You're talking about the tap or the cycled lands.
Yeah, cycled lands.
So normally, like the play pattern for me is if I don't have any other land, like I had the red one and the white one. Like if I need a red and I don't have any other red, then I play that turn one, right? Because you're kind of like paying 1 mana for it, right? That's just convert mana cost. But if I have like 2 red, like a mountain and that cycler, I'll play. It's funny. It's nuanced, right?
Right, yeah.
Because, like, you got to then think of, like, what's my turn 2, turn 3 plan?
Right.
And if I only have 3, and it's like, do I want to risk not drawing another land? Will it slow me down a turn?
Or, like, once you get to... If you've got 2 mountains in your cycle mountain, do you play that turn 1 to make sure you hit 3 untapped lands on turn 3, or do you wait and kind of gamble? And maybe you do draw, mountains... 3 and 4, and then now you don't need that cycle land anymore.
I'm trying to go back through my play pattern. I think normally I would, like 80% of the time, I would just play it tapped like early as possible. But then it's like if you draw it later, then you cycle it, right? That's the easy situation. But
that was the easy one. And then Echo, it felt like from watching back some of the film, you paid the Echo almost every time.
A lot. I do remember.
And I was a little more loosey-goosey with paying my Echo.
Yeah. Well, there was, I remember because, like, depends on if I just didn't have another play or if it was, like, fine. Because I think they get 2 slingers, get your shock when it comes into play, and then, is that 3-2 or 2-2? I think it's a
2-2.
2-2? Yeah, 2-2 for 3. So, like, I'm paying 6 mana for a shock and a 2-2, so which is a bad deal, but if I didn't have anything going on after that.
Or, like, the 2-2 for 2 haster. That guy.
Oh, yeah, like, the Avalanche Riders.
Yeah.
Right.
No, the Goblin.
Oh, yeah, the cool ride.
The Goblin Buggy.
Yeah. I think I only played that once, but I remember that game.
4 mana for a 2-2.
Yeah. What haste? It has haste. But I remember that game going like, man, I'm spending way too much mana on these Echo creatures. But it's like, so really the play with Echo, or playing against Echo, you let your opponent pay for it, and then you kill it.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And there's just like, those games didn't really come up where, like,
I had a lot of sorcery speed removal.
Yeah.
So whether it was the pacifisms, which obviously you can't cast instant speed.
Right.
There was that 3-drop black remove, like Hand of Death or something.
Yeah. Like,
so it's
like,
yeah. So I did have some instant speed, but I had a lot of sorcery speed removal, which I do think hurts.
Because then hit for that example that haste also has a 3/1 first strike haste with Echo. But that makes your play. I think you probably did it the right way, but it's like because that was a question of like you would kill the creature before it paid Echo sometimes.
Yeah.
But you're right if it's haste or if it's sorcery speed removal because like I hit you for 2 with a haste and then you're like do I get hit again
and
then do it or just take it out now? Yeah, that's interesting.
And then I don't sort of hose you on mana because then you don't have to pay the echo. It's not an upkeep.
Exactly. So I got it cheaper then.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Theoretically cheaper.
Yeah. Well, a 2/2 haste for 2 at this time period is pretty good.
Yeah. So a couple cards that I had in my pool that will rotate out. I know this one will be on your list, so I'm gonna go ahead and do it first. But Arc Lightning.
Okay. Yeah.
That card is just a 2-for-1 all day.
Yep.
Sometimes even a 3-for-1. There are so many.
Did we ever get a 3-for-1? I don't remember. I remember I blew you out a couple times. They're 2-for-1s.
But even if it's like kill your creature, do 1.
Yeah.
Like Gut Shot is a card. It's 1 damage to a creature or player. Like that. It's not great, but it's not nothing either.
Yep.
That card was just.
It's good. It's sorcery, but still like.
Yeah.
I feel like every time you played against me, I'm like, oof, that hurts bad. And I know I got you. Mother Rune a couple of times. Like.
When you don't get that turn 1 Mother, and when it comes down turn 3, it's just. It's got that lightning rod tucked right in her bonnet.
It's so good.
And then 3 cards that are staples in your favorite style, Cube.
Okay.
Show and Tell, Time Spiral, and Yawgmoth Will.
Yeah. So, Show and Tell, you didn't do... Did you Show and Tell?
So, there was a couple decks in the very beginning where I was trying to do the Reanimator or Show and Tell. So, I had both Reanimator and Show and Tell and a bunch of sort of self-discard, self-draw to kind of keep that going.
Yeah.
So if I had it in hand, I could Show and Tell. If I had it in the graveyard, I could exhume it. Excuse me.
Yeah.
I think I'm so glad we went through this because it makes so much more sense today. Right? If you Show and Tell an Emrakul, right? It's just like, oh, cool. Well, you win. You know, basically... They win the game.
Yeah. We're used to the power level of Show and Tell in a vintage cube.
Yeah. I put out an 11/11 with no evasion, no haste.
It's like vanilla,
It bounced all of my creatures back to my hand, so it was actually a downside for me. There's one point in time I had like a 5/6 flyer that every time he attacked, you got to draw a card. So he was typically in those decks too. And you just kind of see, Grizzlebrand's not here. You don't get to just... Show and Tell, pay 7, draw 7, go.
Right.
You know, so where you get that immediate payoff, even if they kill it right away.
Which that's a fun design though, right? Of like, because we're this in between zone of like constructed and limited or sealed. So it's like you did have some big creatures.
Yeah.
So like that, I remember that's a cool deck.
Yeah. Time Spiral.
Yeah,
that's another one.
Yeah, you played that one quite a bit. It's like mostly all of your blue decks, right?
Yeah. I played it a lot in the blue decks, but it wasn't like when you play Vintage Cube, they Time Spiral, then Storm Off.
Yeah.
There is no payoff here. Like you're just and Yawg Will kind of fits into the same category where if you Yawg Will and cast a Terror, that's the second time you got to cast Terror, but that costs you 5 mana.
Right.
Whereas you're not, playing your free artifacts and using them again, or
they're like you went off fetch lands. Like you could have like the cycle land.
Yeah.
You could cycle it and then play it and then get a free land. Yeah, you're really pushing Yawgmoth's Will to the limits there.
It just didn't. I think I tried to play it a couple times in that early Grixis Reanimator Show and Tell style deck, and then eventually it just kind of drifted off. I think went to hit the sideboard and then just drifted off back into the collection.
I mean, you tried it.
You gotta try it out.
Yeah.
Time Spiral was a little bit better, especially in the burn deck, where the counter burn deck, where you got to cast all my burn spells and get them all back. Now you do get to refill your hand.
Yeah, but you can untap your lands. And get the first. Yeah, I think it's a good strategy because like burn, play it, and then play it, shuffle up. You get like 3 or 4 more cards that are burned. Yeah. Try to burn me out that turn. Yeah, it's a good strategy.
So what'd you have for Urza's Saga?
So Serra Avatar.
Okay.
I played it 1 week, I believe. I think I got to cast it too, but like it was like I already had board presence and winning. But my guy wanted to play it. Here we go. But the thing about that is, like, I wanted to play that as much as possible, but my white was just so bad.
Yeah.
And that triple white is so bad. And I did have a reanimation deck throughout the the weeks. But if Sir Angel hits a graveyard, you shuffle it in. I didn't have instant... Sarah Avatar, yeah. And I didn't have any instant recursion, so like... It's kind of. It was always sitting there.
Show and tell.
Every week, show and tell would have been great, right? I'm like, I bait you during the week to like for you to play show and tell for me to. Oh, that would have been great meta. But so that was why blue power sync. So counters, I had a bunch of counters. So I was losing power sync. Zephid's Embrace, if you remember that. Enchantment for 2, blue.
Okay, yeah.
It's +2/+2 and Shroud.
Yeah.
There's a couple of weeks where I put those on the Standing Soldier or
Standing Troops. Yeah.
Standing Troops. Black, Dark Ritual, Exhume, and Diabolic Servitude. So I did Exhume for a bit, but then you had a better reanimation. So I took that out for a while. Actually, I never came back in, but the Diabolic Servitude, that's a 3 black.
Yeah.
Recur something. If the creature dies, exile the creature.
Yeah.
But bounce it back to your hand.
Yeah.
So I did that a couple times with the green black.
So the key to that one is destroy the enchantment itself. Yeah. Because then the creature, does it still go to the graveyard or is it exiled?
It's probably still exiled.
Okay.
I forget the exact. I bet you it does. So, Arc Lightning for my red. I had 2 of those.
Okay.
Right. Did you have 1?
I had 1.
Yeah. So that's why we saw mine more often than 2 of them there.
That and you cheat. But.
Yeah. Although no. If I were cheating, it'd be like the argument would be like messing your deck. Then I make you draw no lands or all lands, right? But the big one. This was a new one that I didn't know, but I think I got you. Blue got a couple games. The Acidic Soil. Where you do damage, 2 to red, do damage. Each opponent takes damage for how many lands they have. So because I know about it, I hold back lands, and you're like, I got all these lands. Like, here's 10 damage for 3 mana, right? It's like,
Especially during some of those weeks, I was trying to, I'm just gonna hard cast this 11/11 for 10. And...
Like, 11, you're at 11, right? You got 11 lands, okay, sitting. I mean. As I didn't main it every time. It was sideboard a couple times, but it did good.
I guess, if you ever faced a really aggressive deck, I could see it being, not as potent. But
I mean,
when I was trying to do the ramp stuff with green, or just a control deck, it ran out of counters or whatever.
And it's not like you're gonna build around that card, right?
Right, yeah.
It's like you gotta play your lands. Yeah. Like you're most likely gonna get to 6.
I think normally you wouldn't get me twice.
Yeah.
So once you got me either game 1 or game 2, it's like okay, unless you need to play the lands, hang back.
Yeah, you'd be paying attention. Yeah. Like, my life total, I'm at 10. I currently have 6 lands. Should I play my 7 or not? To double spell later. Yeah. But it's like such nuance. So. Yeah. But it gets you. When it works, it works. Which also in that mono red deck, Shivan Gorge, the cycle of the Tolarian Academy, Sarah, the worst of that cycle, it did work. Every time I actually played it, it would do 3 or 4 points of damage. Like it gave that little extra reach.
Is it the worst? Because the black one's is that sack for 2 black?
It's the black one. I don't know. The blue one stands out. The white one stands out.
The green,
yeah. So it was like blue, green, white, black. What's the black one?
I thought that one. No, there's a sack of creature for 2 mana.
For 2, okay, that one's pretty good though.
Okay,
I forget what the sack was. Yeah,
and I didn't really get into this here, but we could talk about it now. The whole sacrifice theme for black, but it doesn't have any token makers. You're sacking a card.
Yeah.
It's
a strong price. Yeah. Yeah, the payoff for sacking creatures
still just doesn't.
There. Yeah. Unless
I kept waiting for a dragon fodder or 2 goblins for 1 card. It's like, okay, I can sack both these. And
that's interesting. That just hasn't been invented yet, or that game design hasn't quite gotten there. Because now, you look at the new set, which is going on Foundations, right? And there are so many goblins or so many tokens, right? Yeah. Of just kind of tacked on to a creature.
So that's why I do wonder. Maybe you guys can let us know. Could you regenerate a sacrifice? Because there's a bunch of black regenerate.
No, I know you can't.
So never. I know you can't today.
Oh, then.
But could you ever?
I don't think so. I don't ever remember it being able to regenerate. Right. Yeah. But because that feels like that would make sense. Right. Yeah. But.
And then they would change that later or rule later. Yeah. But
no, I'm pretty sure you can. But internet, check us.
Yeah.
Fact check us there. The last bit. Priest of Titania × 4. I had 4 of those. Nice. There's just that 1 week that I did the elf coat of arms.
Yeah.
And then basically, it was always there. I'd always say it when I was building my deck every week, but it's What did you have? You always had something
Curse
against.
Scroll.
Yeah, that's what it was. Curse Scroll. I just couldn't do it. That's right. Forgot about that. Yeah. But yeah, those are the cards I have for Saga. We already talked about mechanics, but one thing that was consistent, a lot of enchantments.
Yes.
And they called them the sleeping enchantment. So if your opponent plays something, then that enchantment becomes a creature. We didn't play around with those that much. I had like the blue one that like there's like one of each.
It equals the CMC.
Yeah.
I did have one of those.
I had like the common one was like it was a 1/1 flyer bird or something.
Yeah.
Like it just wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
I remember there was the white rare that is like 2 white. I didn't have it though. This is memory. That when your opponent plays a creature that it's a gargoyle, like it becomes a 4/4 protection from that color.
Oh,
creature.
nice.
So that's what made that card really good.
Yeah.
But I don't think
I had a couple of the spiders. I think it was just 1 green for a 3/5 spider, but they had to play a flyer.
Oh, okay.
So you can kind of play around.
Yeah. I had I did get a green rare.
I think I put that in the board a couple times in case you run like a blue-white flyer deck.
Yeah, 3/5 reach or 3/5 flyer. That's pretty big. I had one that I'm not sure if it's Saga or Destiny or one of them, where it's 1 green. If your opponent, it becomes like a 4/4, like ape or something. I forget. But like if your opponent like basically plays blue like an instant, or like an interrupt or whatever language was, and I did sideboard it a couple times, but it never came out.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny. Like that was the big theme of the sleeping enchantments that we never really explored.
There's still a lot of enchantment hate. I always had enchantment hate in my boards, so
yes.
I mean, unless I was playing mono black or something, you can't. But if I was playing white, blue or green, you'd have some kind of answer to them.
Yep. So all right, that's what's up.
All right. Well, that was 17 minutes for once.
That's all right. We'll just keep going. Legacy. I'll just quickly run through my cards.
Okay.
I'm gonna Radiant Archangel, the Great Flyer. That was white again. That I only played her like once.
Okay.
In a deck, or maybe twice, and like on white blue.
+X for the flying creature.
Or its toughness it's 3/3 vigilance, and it gets +1/+1 for each other flyer on the board. Yeah. Tinker. I actually had 2 Tinkers, and like I had
Tinker too.
It just was never a good artifact.
Yeah, the closest I got was a 7-mana 4/4 flyer that had, I'm not sure, kind of fire breathing, but it would +X -X.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I forget what they call that. So at one point in time, I thought about it, but it was like.
And then you have to have a little artifact.
Yeah, I had like Ursa's glasses where you could tap to look at a opponent's
that'd be a wasted card. Like, that, right?
But it's a 1-drop.
Yeah, I know, right?
So
but Tinker is cool, but like again from Vintage Cube, we're used to it being really powerful. But if we don't have access to the other pieces, it's not that good.
Nicol Bolas Citadel or something.
Yeah.
No Nicol Bolas running around today.
Yeah. Unearthed, we saw the power of Unearthed, green, black.
Unearthed, I had that on my list too.
Avalanche Riders, Gitsu Slinger for my mono red deck, and I also have Lava Axe because I did put in like a different way to burn you out, like big 5 damage to your face. My green Weather Seed Treefolk, the 5/3 trample for 2 green.
Yes,
it comes back when it dies.
That was a very.
I played that a lot.
Very good.
Basically any green deck, I had that in there. Gang of Elk, not necessarily that good, but it's just a big dumb creature that 5/4 becomes +2/+2 as blocked. Rancor. We know that you had
Rancor on there.
Yep. I had some elves and then some worms. Okay. Oh, and then Fairy Conclave as a land. Well, I think you had that too.
Yeah, I had 2 of them. I did the mechanic. I put man lands because I had one of each color.
So you had the white one.
The white one I had 2 blues.
Yeah.
The black one was definitely the word. I think the green one was the best. I think that's a 3/3 trample.
I'd love to have the green one. Yeah. 3/3 trample for 1 in a green.
Yeah.
They're all 1 in color.
Yeah. The flyer was good too, but it did have the 1 butt, so that made it a little worse.
Well, the Fairy Conclave is good in like a green or a blue counter. Like that can be a win con, right?
Yeah. So I also listed Ostracize.
Oh yeah,
I thought that was kind of
hits a creature out of their land.
Yeah, creature out of the hand for 1 mana. Mom.
You had 3 of those, right?
I had 3 moms.
I remember
I think what's interesting about that is when you play White Weenie today, Mom was just a house.
Yeah.
But in this time period, wasn't a ton of white 2-drops.
Yeah.
So Mom was kind of...
I don't know. She's still really good. Like
she is good, but it felt like you wouldn't want her in a control deck.
Yeah.
Like, so I was trying to put her in like a mid-range.
Yeah. Mid-range
there was not that blistering fast White Weenie deck that Mom kind of just slides into perfectly.
I mean, I don't know, like if that's where she's best. I mean, because you can like force in damage.
Yeah.
But just like I remember, like the game, we could go back and look at it, but like the games where like you play her turn 1. You probably won every single one of those games, right?
Maybe.
I remember a white-green deck. They had just a 2/1 flyer for strikers with Rancors with the Moms. It's like I can't do anything against this, especially when you get double Mom.
Yeah.
So not like you have to. It's a 3-for-1 then.
Yeah.
Right. Like, but yeah, that was good.
Frantic Search.
Okay.
So that's kind of interesting where you still get to untap the lands.
Yeah.
And then the other ones you had mentioned. Frantic Search. I kind of tried that a couple different times with the Reanimator, where you could draw the 2, pitch the 2, untap, and then either show and tell or exhume.
Yeah.
To try to get it all in one.
Because you are losing
one
a card though.
Yeah.
Using it, right?
Yeah.
So you want to like get that value of selection and then the big guy in the graveyard.
Oh yeah. All right, so I guess we'll jump right into
6th edition is the next on my list.
Oh, 6.
Because 6 was in between.
Okay.
The Legacy and Destiny, right? I remember that felt weird, right?
So I had nothing's core mechanic wise.
Yeah.
Just kind of
I put core.
Yeah.
For my notes under mechanics is core mechanics. I'm like, what was there?
So the Pain lands, I thought that was
I didn't get any of those.
A little interesting. I had the blue, black, and black, red.
That's actually kind of a bad hit for you because that's 3 lands
right,
of your rares. Although maybe I don't know.
When I was running the Grixis Reanimator, I had both those in there. It is tough. Like, do your color pairs match up with your dual lands?
Right.
You know, it doesn't always work that way.
Yep.
The 2 cards that really jumped out are Wrath of God and Mystical Tutor.
Oh, Mystical Tutor, that's right. I forget.
Yeah.
To get the Wrath.
Yeah. The nice thing about Mystical Tutor
is that instant and sorcery, or is it just instant?
Yeah, instant sorcery. It's instant speed as well. So 1 blow. So you can hold up the counter spell. If they don't play anything worth countering, go get the removal spell.
That was that one game where I was like, all right, playing that counter. Play into this counter, and it's like he might have a 3rd one. Let me, all right, play it. I'm like, all right, and then I played. I'm like, clearly he doesn't have any more counters. The 4th counter, what? Did you never see the 4th one coming and sealed? And it's funny because you're like, well, you can just look at my deck every week, right? So when I'm like, I just didn't that week. I'm like, just no clue. You got me so good with the 4th counter because like I was like waiting. I'm like, all right, now my best spell. Here we go. Got me.
Yeah, and then. Sort of to your point about, I feel like white at this is clearly the worst color.
Yeah.
I don't know if it gets that close. And again, like, do you want to play Mom and Wrath of God in the same deck?
They're probably like you're playing on the power level.
Yeah.
Because the Wrath of God, I mean, clearly you're going to wipe out your creatures too, but you have control of when you want to do that.
Yeah, it's. Yeah, I mean, I could see it if, Mom doesn't come out early or is handled. Then Wrath of God comes in to reset the board.
Yeah. Just such a strong card.
I get it, but generally when you're deck building, you're not going to put those two together.
I don't know, like, I would.
When you're building a constructed deck.
Constructed deck, that doesn't make sense. So, but in limited or like, this is a weird in between.
Yeah.
Just like, I would do it just because of the power level.
Yeah.
Right?
And a lot of times it was in the board. So if I had a white weenie, white green, white blue, I would have Wrath in the board, because a lot of times you were either playing the sort of graveyard recursion or you're playing the blue-red counterburn. So neither one.
It wouldn't quite work. Yeah.
Wrath was great in.
Yeah.
Because even if I do Wrath, you got enough recursion to get it all back. Maybe I'll slow you down a couple turns, but
you'd have to you have to build up, keep the cards in your hand. Let me overextend, wrath me, because like I would probably forget about it.
Yeah,
like nah, he doesn't have wrath. Come on. But yeah, other cards. We talked about counterspell. Air Elemental. I played that one quite a bit. All right. Lord of Atlantis. So it's the Merfolk Lord.
Okay.
I actually had 2 of those, but never had enough Merfolks to actually make it happen. Yeah. I look at it. I'm like, oh, can I do it? Did I get Merfolks this week? I'm like, no. Not enough to make it actually good. I had Armageddon. I played it once. Okay. Every week, I'm like, how can I make this happen? Because you're always getting mana screwed. Well, I'm going to force you to get mana screwed, right? Or no, it would happen like, I would like blow up your 4 lands, and you just like draw all lands and have you screwed there. Standing Troop, we mentioned that one. So we saw my mono red. I had mono red pretty much every week, right? And it just kept getting better and better. So in 6th edition, I had 2 Shocks and 2 Pyrotechnics.
Okay.
And those made the deck every time, right?
Yeah.
So
Pyrotechnics is just a big arc light.
Yeah.
Maybe not quite as good because you don't want too many 5-drops in your burn deck, but
I remember a couple games I lost. I'm like holding 2 of them in my hand, and I only had 4 lands.
Yeah.
So I think I still run 16. The question is, did I want to go to 15? But
yeah, I
tend to be a bit risk averse on the land. I'll be add a little extra lands when needed.
I would say generally I'm a 16, 17 land guy.
I'm always like base 7. It's hard for me to go down to less than 17.
Okay.
But there is a nuance, like kind of next level that I tend to forget. But like if you're on the draw, you can side out a land so that it helps out with the percentage a little bit, but you're still being a little risky.
Yeah. I could see it both ways.
Yep. Cool. Any other cards from 6th edition?
No, that one wasn't my best set. Well, again, 2 of my rares were the pain lands.
Yeah, exactly.
So I occasionally play, but not regularly.
I got next on my list here. Did we do Portals 3 Kingdoms in between? It took us forever to get to Destiny, didn't it? Yeah. This one, I was going through it.
It's the horsemanship set.
Yeah, that's the mechanics of horsemanship.
Yeah, so. Nothing else. They reprinted a bunch of cards with different names and then put horsemanship on a bunch of creatures.
Horsemanship worked out for me, though, because I had, basically, I used to have 4 cards here. So for the red, Fire Ambush. That's the 3 damage for 2 mana.
Yeah.
I think it was a sorcery speed. I'd have to check. Oh, no. Imperial Recruiters. I had 2 of those, and those did a lot of work. Because there's a couple of decks where it's a whole bunch of stuff that's like 2/2s.
Yeah.
So I could search out for. Ruling Earthquake was a big one for my red deck.
Okay.
Right? The X damage anything without horsemanship. Except for one game, I was like, oh, I'm going to get you blown out. And then, I had a few creatures, he had a few creatures, and, your best creature had horsemanship. I'm like, oh, no! This card is it's not doing what I want it to do. Because, you shorthand it. Right. It just destroys all creatures. Yeah. But you got me that one game. Because he had the recruiter. The Scholar General.
Yeah.
Lu's son.
Yeah, Lu's son. I had 2 of him.
Okay, I only have 1. Yeah.
He was a must answer. You could not let him get loose, or he was,
And that's kind of that mechanic, or that type of creature with the curiosity factor, the thieving magpie.
Yeah.
Hits you, draw a card. You got to deal with it because you just can't let your opponent pull away. Also had Sun Quan, Lord of Wu, 4/4. Horsemanship gives all your other creatures horsemanship. He was 4 blue.
Okay.
I don't know. Did I ever play it against you? It was in my blue-white deck.
I know you played a black one. I think it was a 3/2 for 3.
Mm-hmm. And that was because it had the recursion effect. It was weird. It was before combat.
Yes, you could sack it to blow up something.
No, this one was to get a black card from your graveyard.
Oh, okay.
Back to your hand or play. Maybe your hand. I think it's hand. But it was kind of weird. Mm-hmm. And I think I only played it once against you. And I would sideboard it in and out. I'm like, is it quite good enough?
Right.
But I don't know. A 3/2 unblockable for 4 mana is pretty good. That if you have the option to get a black card from your graveyard.
I had the other one that was the 3/5. When he died, he got shuffled back in, which
3/5 that shuffled. Did I?
He was white. When he died, he got shuffled back into.
Oh, okay, yeah, I remember that.
So not great, but
3/5 was a casting cost.
Horsemanship 5.
5. Yeah, but it's the horsemanship.
Yeah. So we talked about the horsemanship. Yeah. The other card I had was Imperial Seal.
Oh yeah. You used that a couple times. I remember.
I used it a couple times. I ended up starting to cut it. It's nice to be able to get anything, but you can't do it instant speed. Yeah. Sorcery speed on top of the library, not even in hand.
2 life or 3 life?
And 2 life.
2 life, okay.
So it's
it's better when you're power banned if you have really powerful cards, right? Because you get your most powerful card. So that would be Get Wrath of God. I think you may have done that at some point. Get a time spiral or something. Like, there could have been a way.
Yeah.
But you're using a card. It's not like Demonic Tutor.
Right,
Raise your hand and you gotta wait. But
yeah, so and then not being instant speed, so I couldn't like play it, cycle a land, draw it, Yeah,
and like it has to be at least a 2-for-1 of what you're getting, right?
Yeah.
So because sure you are getting value out of the selection of getting any card, but you got to recoup that card that you already played.
Yeah. That's
all I got.
I had 2 cards. Yeah, the Scholar General and the Priest.
Oh, no. You're forgetting a very important one.
What's that?
The Forest Bear.
Oh, that's right.
Because I had one, but I never played it. We were discussing of like, it's a cool card. It's a Grizzly Bear, right?
Yeah.
But at this level, it's not quite strong enough on its own, right?
Yeah. It feels like your standard Grizzly Bear is fine for sealed. At least when I played sealed 8 years ago.
You need your 2 drops, right? Like,
yeah. But it just didn't feel... even if I would Rancor it up, you had 3/1 First Strikers or Shocks or something, and it's like...
it's a bit lackluster.
Yeah.
The art was not. The art was spot on.
That looks like it's like a 5-year-old drew a bear, and they're
exactly.
like, that'll work.
But it's cool though. It's unique.
It's definitely unique. Yeah.
Oh, I have one last card here, which we didn't see. It's called Heavy Fog. And I like it for 2 reasons. Number one, every week I was trying to make a fog deck work.
Okay.
I kind of got there the last week, but it was with the frog spore.
Okay, yeah.
And I had the combo to be able to get that back with the Undertaker to fog every time. But I have like 7 or 8 fog spells.
Okay.
And I'm like, how do I fit this into a deck? And like I did have a blue deck that like would draw, but then I had no way to win, right? Because normally the turbo
Fairy
fog,
Conclave.
Yeah, that's right. Well, then if I'm drawing 2 or 3 cards a turn, like I'm gonna deck myself before you do. So I need I wish I had Time Spiral.
Yeah, Time Spiral.
Yeah.
There you go.
Like when I was trying to build that deck,
Yogg Will.
Like that's like I wish I had it. But then also Heavy Fog is a funny card because it has a reminder text of unblockable creatures are considered blocked. So the question is like in Magic, how do you block an unblockable creature?
Okay.
You just have to throw Heavy Fog at it. There you go. There you go. A little randomness, right?
Yeah. So does Trample still work then?
Well, it prevents no damage.
Okay.
Well, I'd have to.
Yeah.
Maybe. It said they're all considered blocked. We'd have to look at weird wording.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. If it's Portal, it is weird. I have no idea what they were thinking with that set.
Yeah.
That is the wordiest Magic cards I've ever seen. I understand they were trying to get new players in, but I think if we are realistic, you don't come into Magic having never played any type of fantasy game at all.
Right.
So you should know some basic nomenclature, and not target counter spell that creature goes into the graveyard instead of input, and you're just like,
well, what year was this though? I don't know,
like 2000, right?
All right, so the game has been out for still like 6 or 7 years. So we're so used to it now of like Magic being like the game engine. So and we've been playing it for decades, so like we get it. But what we could do is compare all the Portal sets to the how Wizards introduces new cards to new people, right? That would be.
But like I think 6th edition at this time, 6th edition is easier to play than Portal 3.
Yeah, I'd say that.
But that doesn't feel.
So like why have core set and this port? I mean, it's just a marketing business decision that didn't align very well with design, I guess.
I mean, so they actually talked about this. I saw an article. They thought about eradicating horsemanship so they could be blocked by flyers.
Okay.
Because they can't currently are basically unblockable unless you have horsemanship.
They're fast horses.
But I mean, you can fly faster than a horse can run. So should they errata it so the horsemanship can be blocked by flyers? What do you think?
No, it's just way too complicated. Like keep it weird, I guess. It's beyond no one's Wizards not making any money off selling any Portal cards anymore, ever, right?
Do they ever bring horsemanship back? Or have they ever brought it back?
Any weird mystery, like the mystery boosters, maybe they made
or like in a random Street Fighter set.
Oh, right.
Blanca's got horsemanship or something.
I mean, it could be like a callback to it. I don't know.
Yeah.
We have to get on Scryfall to check that
Or
out.
like The Walking Dead. Like I think the very first episode of Walking Dead, Rick rides a horse.
On a horse. Give him horsemanship.
Yeah,
That's funny.
Does Rick Grimes have
Like,
horsemanship?
Zombies can't block creatures' horsemanship, or get a zombie horsemanship.
Yeah.
That's scary. All right, you ready?
All right, the last set.
Destiny.
So the two things that kind of jumped out, we already touched on one of them. Just enchantment, crazy. There was a lot of enchantments in this set.
Yeah.
So enchantments, there's a lot of them, even more in this set. And then the sense.
Yeah.
I thought that was a really interesting mechanic where you revealed any number of cards of a certain color, and I think the green one
Of a
gains
specific
life.
color, right?
Or no, it was +X, +X.
+X for the green. The red we both had.
Yeah, damage.
Damage.
Black was neg X,
Yeah.
neg X. Blue was counter spell unless they paid.
That's right. I had one of those. Yeah.
I think white was gain life.
No, I don't remember the white one.
I'm telling you, white is awful this time.
Yeah, it's funny. I did have a white-blue deck that I ran, but that was only because I wanted to push Sarah Avatar and the.
But I mean, like they
Angel.
have some good flyers and the Wrath and Moms, but like just all the middle. It seems like it has some decent rares, and then just all the middle of the set is just bad.
Yep.
So a couple cards from there that were memorable were Fellows.
Oh yeah, Dead Repels. Yeah, a couple, like it never popped off though.
No,
the dream is like turn 2 play it, turn 3 have 6 mana, play a 6 drop worm.
Yeah.
Right? You never quite had the chance to do that.
Never quite pulled that off. Yavimaya Elder.
Yeah,
You had a lot of
those. 4 of them.
I think I had 3 or maybe 2.
Yeah.
I was, I've played that card in Vintage Cube. But man, it is
It's
way more of a
recall.
house.
It's 3 cards, right?
It's way more of a house than I thought. I kept trying to get that in Frantic Search to kind of work, to pitch the lands.
Yeah, that'd be good.
I
don't quite remember the timing of this, but there used to be damage on the stack.
Yeah.
I think it actually
it's in this. I know at this point.
Can you imagine that? It's like block your 2/2 with my Yavimaya Elder, damage on the stack, sack it, draw a card, get 2 lands. Like that's a 4 for 1.
Yeah.
That's sick. We should have implemented. I'm like, we're bringing back damage on the stack for this week.
I had Treachery. I don't think I ever got to cast it, but I had Treachery in my deck. Every single blue deck had Treachery in it. Sometimes it'd be in the board if I thought you were going to be running a few creatures, but I wanted
such a good card too. Yeah.
To do the show and tell Treachery. So we both put them down.
Oh, interesting.
I don't 100% know if that would work. If you flip over a Fatty and I flip over Treachery, does it go on there?
That's a good judge question.
Yeah.
There's weird ruling of when an aura comes into play and there's not a target. Like you get, instead of you targeting a creature, you get to choose.
Okay.
I'll ask a judge buddy about that because that is weird.
But
because you just seal it, then that's the idea. I mean, we'd run with it, right? It's like, that works. I'm like, hold on, we gotta. Whoa.
You see it like a 20-minute edit. I gotta make sure this.
Well, you don't do it like you just stretch or like you show and tell.
Technically, you could fail to find, and then the Treachery just dies.
Because you reveal at the same time. But that'd be funny if I'm like, nothing.
Yeah.
Well,
or flip over land.
Yeah. But no, I mean that play though, you show and tell like one of your like your biggest thing. Then I do my biggest thing, and just in 2 turns you Treachery mine.
Yeah.
So like as long as you don't die to it, which you probably wouldn't.
But that way, then it's not an even show and tell. Right? We both don't get our biggest thing. I get your biggest thing, and you get nothing.
Yeah.
And like,
and like. You gotta accept it. Yeah.
And then the other one, I want it to work so much, but God, you've already talked about how much burn you had. Phyrexian Negator.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I had the Dark Ritz. I could basically play a 5/5 turn 1.
Yep.
Pretty consistently, as long as I had it and Dark Rit in a swamp. Like, that's not that hard of a combo to set up. I had 2 Dark Rits. 5/5.
You just couldn't risk it.
But if you shock it, it's like I gotta sack it plus my land. I've already spent.
It felt so good.
I've already spent Dark Ritual on it. Like,
pack it up. But I mean, you go for broke, I guess. Right? I wonder if you could have still put it in your sideboard.
It was in the board a couple times. I think when you had that blue-white deck, I'm like, that deck's kind of slow. Yeah, and even if he has the 1/4 blockers, this guy's got trample. I'm going to trample through. I got a second land.
Yeah.
And I tried to cram those decks full of as much dirtily garbage as I could, as sort of cannon fodder for this. Yeah. And I had the Unearth, so even if you did
manage, sick with that too.
Bounce him back.
Well, even with your frantic searches too.
Yeah.
You could've, it's cool. Yeah. So, but it's such a liability though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But with as much burn as you had, or even I guess Yavimaya Elder, right? Like I'll take 4, deal 2 to it. You sec 2. And I'll get my 2 lands. Like, there's some sort of combination of cards there that just did not work.
There's a lot of blue cards that like gave something flying. That could have been.
Yeah, there was
I don't know. It's hard to run those cards though.
Yeah, there was a blue enchantment that gave a card Shroud.
Okay.
So I thought about. I was like, all right. So I give him Shroud. Yeah. Now it's basically I was just going to fill the rest of the deck with bounce and removal and just stop them.
Which that's what I do like with like me building my decks. I mean, sure that mono red deck kind of like it was just so strong I had to run it. But trying to, I think maybe 1 week I switched it up. I did like red blue or something.
Yeah, you've done some counter burn.
Yeah, but running the Arc Lightnings and stuff, like you have to have this powerful stuff in there.
Yeah, just
efficient cards. But I do like finding a card like, oh, this will be fun to build around, and then like you kind of piece that out.
Yeah. He was definitely one of them. I mean, that type of card. I even think was it Phyrexian Obliterator? I think he's 4 black, right? 4 black pips.
Yeah.
This is 2 in a black. This ain't that. This ain't pushing the mana.
Yeah, but it's a 5/5 trample. But you have to sack it. Whereas the Negator or the Obliterator, your opponent sacks it.
If they do 2 damage?
Yeah. That's the other way. That's why. That's why it's so expensive.
Okay. Yeah. All right. It's been a while since I played Phyrexian Obliterator. They took him out of the vintage queue.
You're I don't know these cards. But my cards, just the main ones. You have my Elder.
Yeah.
That such a big part of my strategy. Like I said, I do have Ravenous Rats. You got me a couple times with all of your crazy rats, right? But that was coming out. And then the Skittering Horror, I had 2 of those. And then remember to play it correctly.
Yeah.
That's it does have a drawback.
So I had 3 of those.
Oh, did you?
And originally in the Reanimator deck, I was like, well, I'm going to play those guys plus the big fatties. Okay. And I had that deck. And was trying to tweak it, and it just didn't. Your sort of recursion deck just.
Yeah, that was a pretty brutal deck, wasn't it? Yeah.
4/3 that I can't play anything else. That you just have infinite chump blockers that get you lands every
keep
turn.
It going, But I mean, that's because I have 2 of them. I would run it because it just punches above its weight.
Yeah.
And then my thinking behind that one was just you play it. And you're gonna chump block, chump attack. Chump, even if you're trading for a 3/3 or something, or 2/2/2s, that's worth it. So,
your graveyard deck was just so much grindier than I thought that card could overcome.
Yeah,
but what are you gonna do?
I mean that's the fun part of finding these decks. So all right, I think that's all I got for my update on the cards that are leaving.
Yep.
And then a little announcement is we're taking a short little break. We've been gaming a lot. And
25 sets.
25 sets and consistent every week.
Every week.
That is impressive. Yeah. So I think now's a good time to take a little break. We're gonna jump into other games, other tabletop style games. Enjoy our Tuesday evenings. Or your Fridays, right? But just sometimes in Magic, your level of interest waves goes up and down. Once you play Magic, you never actually get out of Magic. Just how much you're playing in it. And we're just taking a little break on our Planeswalking Through Time.
Yeah.
And
I think when we come back, we've talked about doing maybe every other week just to kind of curb that pressure.
Yeah.
Because it did feel like I was having to rush some of the editing. I'm not the best editor in the world. You noticed. But, you
deliver. You get it out there. It's good.
Get a little more time on deck building and sort of, kind of talking about the decks and stuff, whereas we were just, it's like, all right,
you got to do it.
We would play on Tuesday. Mm-hmm. You basically had to pull your cards. I had to edit Wednesday or Thursday, pull cards Friday, print them, or deck build that weekend, print them on Monday, and then do it all again on Tuesday. And it was...
And also, it's like all the work on that to get up there. Yeah. But basically, though, and this is what I've encountered with Magic multiple times, it's really just any game. Like, if it's not having fun, it's a game. You shouldn't be doing it. So, take a little break. It'll come back.
Recharge the batteries.
Yep.
Maybe, like I said, maybe the one difference would be every other week, as opposed to every week, just to allow that.
Yeah, we can test that out once we get there. Yeah.
All right. So for anyone keeping track of score, the interesting thing is the pattern. So you won 6 of the first 7.
Okay.
And then I won 8 of the next 11.
Oh, really? Wow.
And then you won 6 of the next 7. Okay. So it's 15-10.
Yeah.
But it's interesting, those two, they're pretty lopsided.
Yeah, I must have been sick or something.
That was 11 weeks.
Yeah.
That's that long COVID. No, but it makes me wonder, if we go to set 8, did I open just a bomb card and then it rotated out 7 weeks ago, or just how that ebbs and flows.
I think. I mean, this is true with so with sealed pools, you do have, there's a power band of what's if you go to GP or Magic Fest or whatever, getting to day, once you're on day 1 and then day 2, towards the end of day 1, the top people who are undefeated, their decks are phenomenal. But that doesn't mean that if you're still a good player, you'll still do better and you'll still win.
Yeah.
But this is a little different format, so
right. And I do think that the extra week will help that, because sometimes it was I gotta put a deck together.
Yeah.
I'll just the mono black deck wasn't exactly the most creative thing in the world.
What we noticed, once we got towards the end of having 5 or 6, or 7 maybe sets,
you start getting the mono color really becomes...
because you're I want to play the most efficient, most powerful cards, and then so the creativity kind of falls off a little bit. You're kind of locked into it. I tried to push back on that a little bit, but
but when you're pressed for time, it's easy to sort of fall back on that pattern. So, well,
all right, we'll see. See how much time goes by the time this is published in the next one.
Yeah.
It'll be funny in 10 years. We're back.
I had to download some sets, but
it's a good reset. 10 years. So.
All right, we'll see you back at the table.
We'll see you.